I think we're on, so we're gonna get started. So thank you for joining us, whoever's listening in. I'm here with Diane from New Leaf Senior Transitions, and she is a downsizing and decluttering specialist. And so if you're like me, you love to organize things and have everything in its place. And so we're excited to talk to her today. They work with seniors, but also people of any age to help when transitioning to a new space, decluttering their homes. And we're going to talk about some of the specifics of that and the tips that she might have for us. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Diane, and how you got into the business and just a little bit about your business.
Yep. So I have been with New Leaf almost 10 years. The owner, Stacy Zabel, has been in business for a little over 12. Her and I have been friends for about 30 years. Our husbands used to work together, and kind of an unexpected phone call that she made about 10 years ago asking if I'd come and work for her. And I'm a mom of 2 grown men. I've got 3 grandchildren. And I love decluttering. And yes, even decluttering specialists have closets that are full of things. So we do a good job, but we're human like everybody else. I love to travel when I'm not working, but when I am working, I absolutely love what we do and who we get to do it for.
Wonderful. And yes, you're such an integral part of our business. I know that we recently started working together, but just knowing that there's this source for us as agents and just for the general public to help with these things. She's going to be actually helping one of our clients declutter, prep for a move, and then actually fully move him into his new home while he's overseas. And she's doing the whole thing. She's coordinating it all. So there's, from A to Z, they can help you with so many different things. So let's start off with, what do people usually think downsizing is, and what is it really?
Well, I think usually people think when we show up, we're just going to throw everything away, that's our answer. And it is not. It's really about making the things and the space that you have useful, meaningful, using the items that you have in a very meaningful way. So we tend to just keep everything because we've either inherited it or we purchased it, and now it has to have space in our house, and it doesn't. So keep the things that really matter to you and the things that you really use, and let the rest go out into the world and let somebody else use it and love it as much as you did.
Great advice. Yeah, because we all collect things. Even, the bigger house you get, the more you collect.
Exactly. Yeah. And we all fill our space, whether you live in a studio apartment or a massive house, we all just seem to fill our space in this culture.
Yes. And who do you help typically? I know we talked about seniors, but maybe tell me your typical client or ideal client for you guys.
Yeah. I mean, our typical client is someone that's probably been in their house for decades. They raised their children in this house, and now they're moving to senior living or a smaller space, maybe a single story house or a condo. And really, what do you do with all the stuff? That is the stopping point for most people to move. They're frozen by all the things that they have. Their kids and grandkids have told them they don't want it or they don't need it. What do you do with it? So that's what we do, is we help navigate that. We also help people that are just trying to age in place in their own home, and they've collected, again, all those things over the years, and maybe medical equipment is being brought in. We can help navigate space for that. Maybe a caregiver is coming to live at the home and there's a bedroom that's going to be theirs. We will come in and navigate the organization and clean out of that so that their space can be their own. Oftentimes someone has passed and maybe we're hired to do the clear out, which means the family's already taken the things that they want, and then we go in and navigate what is happening to the rest of those things. Some really fun stories come out of those. We always find treasures that the family missed, and it's such a gift to be able to hand those over. Yesterday, our team found a wedding ring that had been missing, and what a joyous call that is to be able to make and say that we found a ring. Oftentimes we find cash, and it's just really fun to be able to give that to them. There's also a trend of folks that have multiple homes, and maybe they're having their house manager come into town and they set it up. A big moving truck comes with all their things, and our team goes in, and like ants, we just disperse and we set up the house for that client. Maybe they just come to Sacramento area for business and they need their home for that. So even new home setup we will do. There's, people move in the state, out of the state. We're about to help a client moving back to California, and her things are coming on a mover. They used a senior move manager on that end. We're handling it on this end. And we just do all the logistics of what needs to get done so that person can walk into their new space and just begin living.
Yeah. What a huge benefit too, because there's so much stress. I mean, on the real estate side, you know, that's stressful, the transaction, but the moving, you know, is just another piece. And so to know that there's support out there that can help you get started. And I love that you found the wedding ring. Like I got chills thinking about that. Or when you said that, like, wow,
it's pretty special. The things that our stories over the last 12 years, someday we'll write a book, are very meaningful.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. So let's go to the emotional side. What's the biggest hurdle people face when downsizing?
I think they feel guilty. They feel guilty getting rid of something. Maybe it was a gift, a Christmas gift, a Mother's Day gift. Obviously, inherited items come with a lot of emotion, and generational clutter is really crushing our society, because you inherit from multiple places, maybe multiple family members. You've had multiple sets of parents through different marriages, death, divorce, and all of that comes our way, and we feel really guilty to get rid of it. And it's just filling our space, and no one's really enjoying the things that they have because they're just buried in your house under other stuff and covered with blankets. And we use it as a storage unit for our towels and our clothes. It's kind of like exercise equipment. We're all hot and heavy with it, and then it becomes a storage area for something else. It's not used. But I think the guilt is really the big factor in why people don't want to declutter.
Yeah. I know, and you just hang on to those things, and it probably, you mentioned, we actually tried to do this Facebook Live a week or two ago, and it didn't sync properly, but we talked about, she's like, if you have those Goodwill bags, like, don't leave them in your car, go and take them, because there is a mental load when we collect all of these things and we have them in our house, and it's right. Like, how does it affect people mentally and emotionally? I think when there is all this extra stuff that they're not using, would you say?
Well, it's heavy. It's heavy physically, it's heavy emotionally, it's in your face. You just see it all the time. And you want to do something about it, but maybe you just can't because you have a bad back, or you can't lift it, or it's too big, or you just don't have the emotional wherewithal to be able to begin. And what's nice is, I totally lost my train of thought right there. What's nice is when we are able to clear the space. We hear this all the time from clients. Oh, I wanted to live like this, 20 years ago, 40 years ago. I've always wanted to park my car in the garage. It's a days of work or 2 days of work, and we've just transformed their space into what they've always wanted it to be. And I think when people can feel that freedom and that lightness of a lot of their stuff, and it doesn't even have to go away. It doesn't get moved to a storage unit temporarily, or just into another room, so you can enjoy your space.
And that's priceless too, to have that freedom or that feeling. It's like there's so much peace, I think, in that, when well,
and there's less to clean, less to people spend a lot of money when their house is full because they can't find things, so they just go and buy it again when they already have it. But when you know where it is, then you can use what you have and only spend the money to replace it when you need it. Oftentimes we see tons of batteries, tons of paper towels, tons of whatever, because they couldn't find it the first time. And there's a huge waste of money in that.
Yes. Can you tell my husband that? He's like, I can't find it. I'm like, it's right here, honey. Let's time how long it takes me to find it. I've been wrong once or twice, but I'm like, it's here. We didn't need more stuff. But even like towels or rags, like you don't even get the bottom of the stack of them, but we have so many. It's like,
people have bedding to beds they don't even have anymore. Their kids are grown up and gone. You don't need the Batman sheets and the princess sheets for the twin bed that is now been replaced by a full or queen bed because you've created a guest room. And towels, I mean, I'm guilty of that too. We have towels that we got as a wedding gift, and they're in the garage because we think we're going to use them to wash our own car. And most of the time we go through the car wash. So, it's like you can't get rid of towels and sheets and tablecloths, and those take up a lot of space in your linen closets.
Yes. So many good things. Okay. So how do you help someone who feels attached to everything? how do they get through that?
Yeah, so we want to know what the end goal is. Are they moving? How much space will they have at the new place? If they're not moving, what kind of a life do they want in their current house? Typically, our clients are going to a smaller space, so we need to know what that looks like. How many bedrooms? What's your closet space like? How much space is in your kitchen, your bathrooms? And then that helps our teams navigate what's going to go with them. How much will ideally fit? And sometimes we can show them that physically out on a table, like this is how much space you're going to have. You have 5 feet of hanging space in your new apartment. What clothes fit into 5 feet? And that visual really helps us guide them. We make no judgments about how people live. We don't make any judgments about what they want to take or what they do take. It's really about their happiness, their safety, and what fits into the new place.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. And I think even feedback from our client that Diane worked with recently was like, you're just no judgment, and that's so good to know because people have their things and they're important to them. So let's move on to kids, adult kids. How can they support their parents if you are helping parents downsize without causing tension?
Yeah, this is a tough one. We're all kind of either we are that person or we're in the sandwich generation where we have adult children and we have parents that are aging. Really, no judgment. Don't ask them why they kept your fifth grade papers. And family tends to be freer to make those judgments. We're the third party. We don't know the family history. We don't know the dynamics of the family, which I think is a gift. We just come in and do the job. But as an adult child, really try to just support. And you know what, if they like the way they live and they're in a safe environment, let them be. Let them enjoy their things, just like we're all enjoying our things. But really, the lack of judgment would be great. Don't put that on them. They already know they shouldn't be keeping all the things they're keeping. They don't need their child to remind them.
So good. And it's such good advice to hear that. Like we're all like with our parents, we probably have less of a filter. We're not, it's like, hey, why do you have all these things or what's, and it's like, you're right. If they're safe and they're enjoying their things, then
yeah,
enjoy them. Yeah.
I mean, I have my kids' things from growing up. We've moved it into the attic and it's going to be their job when that day comes. But right now, I don't feel compelled to throw their things away. I'm going to let them do it, but it's out of my space so that I can use those former bedrooms into the way I want to use them.
Right, right. Okay, well, thanks for sharing all that. Let's move on to like kind of the practical side of things. When someone knows they need to downsize but feels overwhelmed, where would be a good place to start?
If they're doing it themselves, I would tell them to start in the smallest space possible. A drawer, a nightstand, a kitchen counter. Don't look at the whole project. It's taken decades to fill the space. It's going to take some time to declutter it, especially if you're doing it yourself. And just give yourself the freedom and the grace to know that it's not going to be done in a day or a weekend. But start with just a drawer or even just like where your coffee cups are. We tend to have 30 or 40 coffee cups from, we have our insurance company cup and we have where we used to work and our bank gave us one and I won one at an event. But typically you use the same 1 or 2 coffee cups every single day. So narrow down, say you have 20 or 30 coffee cups. Can we narrow it down to half of that? And it's going to be an amazing transformation to your space. And then pat yourself on the back, go take a break, and come back another day and do another space. Don't spend an entire day unless you have help and someone is supporting you in a positive way.
It's great, great advice. And you feel that, you're excited because you got that one room done. So it's smaller, but then you can, because sometimes even when people move, they'll unpack all the different rooms and then nothing's put away. It's nothing, right. No room is complete and you just feel like you've gotten nowhere.
Exactly. Yeah. Little steps make a big difference.
Yes. Yes. Okay. How far in advance should someone begin the downsizing process when they're thinking about moving?
I'd say right away. If you're thinking, okay, I'm going to move in about a year, I'm going to wait till the kids are done with this grade or whatever. If there's something you don't like, it doesn't fit you, it's not going to be in your new lifestyle, your new house, it's not the same look, offer it to friends and family. Take it to the donation place. Don't wait till the last minute. to do it all, because that's when it gets really, really overwhelming. We just finished a holiday. We just finished Easter. So whatever the next holiday is, Memorial Day, 4th of July, all your red, white, and blue stuff. When you bring it out to put it out in your house, half of it generally just stays in the tub. Throw that away, donate it. Just keep the stuff you're really, really using, and that's going to free up some space for something else that you really love. But as the holiday comes, declutter your holiday stuff.
Great idea. I know, I think about Christmas ornaments. It's like, we don't even put them all in the tree now. And we collected them growing up. Every year we got a new one. And so now every year my kids get a new one, we get them. And it's been a tradition. But as time has gone on, it's like, well, these other ones we don't even use anymore, so, or put them on. So yeah.
But again, we keep them out of guilt and because we think we're supposed to. Yeah.
Yes. And then what would you say is the biggest mistake that people make when they try to do it alone?
Thinking they have to do it all in one weekend or one day, and that's just not feasible. Or they take everything out of a closet and then they max out and none of it gets back in the closet, and you have to sleep in that bed that night, or somebody else has to sleep in that room that night. And you've just created more of a mess than if everything would have just stayed in the closet.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right. And then do you help with donation coordination? Talk to me about estate sales and junk removal.
Yep. So if we are working with the client and there's donate at the end of the day, if it's stuff we can manage in our vans and with weight limitations, yes, we will take that away and drop that off at donation sites. We have haulers on speed dial. And so if anything needs to get hauled away that's big and heavy, we can get a hauler for you. We can involve a moving company for you. And then estate sales, we don't do any estate selling. That is an option if you would like, but we do have an online auction as part of our business. So if you're our client, that's an option. Not everything is auctionable, but those things are determined when we are sorting with the client.
Okay, we've talked about it before, but tell me about, people who have these different older pieces of furniture and kind of how that works out as far as what people are wanting today and how people can...
Yeah, it's really challenging because the generation that we're typically working with moving to smaller space living has a lot of antiques. They have a lot of older furniture. They really expected their kids and grandkids to take those items. That isn't happening. And the resale of those has changed. The 30 and 40-year-olds that are buying houses and filling their space, they're looking for more modern furniture. They're also looking for furniture that can be replaced easily in 5 or 10 years. So they're not spending a lot of money on their furniture. That is our experience. That may not be true across the board, but that is our experience. So sometimes it's really hard to get rid of china hutches, curio cabinets, giant headboards, those big old bedroom sets that are, some of us still have. Furniture is just a really tough sell right now. Some pieces, mid-century modern is still very popular. Those sell, but oak is really hard right now. I'm sure in about 10 years, oak's going to be back and very popular. And some of us might be mad we got rid of it all, but furniture is just tough. And, all the collectibles that people have, all the Hummels and the Yadros, the resale of those is just different than it was 25 or 30 years ago. And those are hard conversations that we have to have sometime. I recommend you keep the ones that you absolutely love that were maybe gifted to you by someone that just means everything to you, and maybe let the rest go into donate, or maybe you're part of a club and some of those folks might like it. Ask your grandkids to take one piece, not the whole collection.
Yeah. Those are good tips. And I will say on the real estate side, proper decluttering, downsizing when you're getting ready for sale, that it makes such a huge impact. And it's really, sometimes when we have listings and we do have a stager go in and professional photography and all of that, but like half of it is my job, getting the property marketed and helping with pricing, positioning. But the other half is how much work a seller is willing to put in to get it ready. And I feel like it's a team effort, but that back end before you even get to pictures is just as important as the front end. And so we just are, what we see in our 20 years in the business is. Yeah.
And we do a lot of that type of work with real estate agents, where we call it pre-staging. we are not the stager. We're not trying to be, but we work hand in hand with the stager, and they'll walk through the house with us and tell us what they want packed up, what they want removed. And then the client will tell us, yeah, that's going to go with us. So we label it appropriately. Or if they're like, this is the time to let it go, then we get it off the property so it's out of their visual for this professional stager and the real estate agent to do what they do.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. Yeah, because it is like a team effort and
Oh, for sure.
lots of different people that can, work together to get it done.
Yep.
So what advice would you give someone who knows their parents need to downsize, but the parents are resisting? How would you encourage those clients?
Well, I think if it's a safety issue, that needs to be the top priority of the conversation. If it's just a matter of the adult child thinking they need to move, but the folks don't want to move and they're okay where they're at, then I would say let them live where they live. I don't know people's finances and all that kind of stuff, but I believe that as long as people are safe and they're enjoying where they live and they're able to live there, then that's what they should do. But if the parents do want to move, they just don't know where to start, you can call us with questions. We do a free consultation. It's less than an hour. It just allows us to meet each other, see the project, make recommendations, including if we're not the right people for you. We would tell you that. But we love what we do and who we do it for.
Yeah. Yes. That's great info though, because I think sometimes it comes down to, maybe the parent is safe in their home, but for the child who's caring for the parent or having to drive, an hour each way, it's like the stress on that parent who might have kids they're taking care of. It's like that driving factor, but because we've had multiple clients where, they're like, nope, they don't want to move. They're not, they're staying put. And so that is hard to,
It is. It's an interesting season of life for sure.
Yes. And then how does your team handle sensitive items, photos, heirlooms, collections?
Mm-hmm. If it's fragile, then we pack it appropriately and label it appropriately. We, photos, we would ask the client what they want done with them. Typically, we box them up and then label them where they came from, what room are they going to, so that later on at some point when the family wants to go through them, they know what's in the box. If things go into a storage unit, usually there's different layers to a move. Sometimes some of it goes to the kids, the adult children's house. Some of it goes to the new senior community that they're moving to. Some goes into storage. We label everything very clear, very appropriate. So it doesn't matter who's going into the storage unit, they're going to find what they're looking for. We have, labels that say do not unpack, because that's not what the family wants us to do. Our labeling system is incredible, and our teams do a really good job labeling what's in that box so that, I could walk into an unknown storage unit, and if our team did it, I can find the item that the client is looking for. That's how good it is. Jenica, I can't hear you.
How do you help families navigate disagreements about belongings?
Well, the client is the deciding factor. Now, sometimes the adult child is paying the bill, so we would kind of redirect to them because there's a reason that they're paying the bill and making some decisions. We try to just what's best for the client that's moving, and does it make sense? I keep going back to safety, but that is huge to us. We don't want anything that's going to be a tripping factor to a cane, a walker, a wheelchair, just their mobility issues. And if it makes sense, let's take it and let's try it. And if it doesn't make sense, we'll take it away.
Good advice. Okay, and then we might have touched on this, but maybe I'm thinking to our last one. And you kind of mentioned, but you can help people get fully set up in their new home.
Oh, absolutely.
Ready to, turn the key and it's all set.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
It's really fun at the end of the day when someone comes into their new space. There's always tears from them and us. Yeah. There's a disconnect as to what happens from your stuff from A to B. And it's very gratifying and just lovely when you see their faces. They see their grandkids up on the wall. They see their pictures, their things unpacked in their china hutches back the way that it was. Their nightstand and dresser looks exactly like it did in their house. Those are the details that we offer that's very different than some moving companies.
Yes. Love it.
Yeah.
And then if somebody was wanting to downsize and start this weekend, what would be 3 things that they could do to get started?
Get rid of clothes that don't fit you. If someday you're that size again, treat yourself to new clothes. I would say do your coffee cups or your wine glasses in your kitchen, and then take a junk drawer and clear it out. Just dump it out and throw away the trash and only put back the things that you actually use.
It's very satisfying too when you do that. We've done it with like my makeup drawer and the junk drawer, and it's like even just a little, it's like I have 10 minutes. Let's just do this one thing, you know. And water bottles, we all have way too many water bottles. It's like
the note pens that we get every event you go to, they hand you a pen. It's like, you only need 4 or 5 actually working pens. You don't need hundreds. And we just see that in coffee cups. We just see a lot.
Yes. Nail clippers. My husband's like, we need more nail clippers. I'm like, we have 20 pair. Let's just find the ones. But then we buy more, and it's like,
sure,
you clean it out. You say, here they all are.
Yeah, here they are.
Yes. And then what are 5 things most people can let go of right now?
I'm going to go back to clothes that don't fit. In your kitchen, clear out your spatulas and your scrapers, because we always have multiples of those and we always use the same one. I would say holiday decor. Things from your children that they're not going to want, hence the Batman sheets, the cute little swim towel. You may not even live in a house that has a pool anymore. The obvious big things that they're not going to want. Let go of those. Let somebody else have it. If you do have towels, take them to an SPCA. They're always taking used towels for their intake animals. And then out in your garage, I think you could, again, towels. I'm just thinking I would never touch my husband's tools, so there's that. But if there's 20 hammers and you only use one, how about narrowing it down to 10 hammers and just keep 10? Because we always tend to grab the same tool, whether it's a tool from the garage or a tool from the house. We're always grabbing the same things over and over again. Narrow it down to 50%.
Yes. Yeah.
If you can.
So good. So good. Well, thank you so much for talking with me today. It's been very
Thank you for having us.
Is there anything else you want to share with our listeners before we?
Yeah, I just want to reiterate, if anybody wants to call us and ask us a question, you're welcome to do that. Is it okay to give our phone number?
Yes. Yeah. Give it
916-761-2539. We're happy to answer questions, even if you don't hire us. We love to be a resource in the community. Oftentimes we get asked where all do we service, and the answer is yes. So if we're not a good fit, we'll try to find you a senior move manager in your area if it's out of town, but we cover all of Northern California for sure.
Perfect. And we'll make sure to have your link in the description and the comments. So
thank you for having us.
Appreciate you. Okay, we'll be talking.
Great. Thank you.
Have a good day. Bye.